నమో నమః. అందరికీ నమస్కారములు. సర్వేభ్యో నమస్కారః. గురుభ్యో నమః. Today we are going to start with a new topic, Mahabharatam, a series of 5 webinars by Dr. Nagaraja garu. And today is the first lecture. And after this, we are going to have one Vastu, another one is Puranas, then third one is research topics, and then after that we'll have some more of learning on yoga and Sanskritam. Then we'll have some practice exam and final exam. So this is the program left out for this course. We pay our respects to our country by reciting Vande Mataram. Now, let us request Challa Chittibabu garu to recite Vande Mataram, please.
Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram, Sujalam Sufalam, Malaya Jasitalam, Sasya Syamalam Mataram, Vande Mataram, Subrajyosna Pulakitayaminim, Pullakusumita Drumadala Shobhinim, Suhasinim, Sumadhura Bhashinim, Sukhadam Varadam Mataram, Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram.
Vande Mataram. ధన్యవాదాలండి చల్లా చిట్టిబాబు గారు. Thank you so much. Now we'll do Prarthana. Let us request Venkat Narayana garu to chant Prarthana, please.
Meditation for a minute, followed by Omkar 3 times. गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम्। ॐ श्री महागणाधिपतये नमः। ॐ प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्र्यवतु। ॐ श्री महासरस्वत्यै नमः। गुरुरेव गतिर्गुरुमेव भजे गुरुणैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोः मतिरस्ति गुरौ मां पाहि गुरो ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः मातृदेवो भव पितृदेवो भव आचार्यदेवो भव अतिथिदेवो भव ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम
హరి ఓం శ్రీ గురుభ్యో నమ. ధన్యవాదములండి వెంకట నారాయణ గారు. థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్. నౌ I briefly introduce Dr. Nagaraja Rao garu, Karanam Nagaraja Rao garu. He is a part of our family, Veda Samskruti Samiti family, and he has been a faculty for this course right from the beginning. We had 6 basic courses and 1 course for youth and another advanced course. So he has been well known to us and doesn't need any introduction to all of you, but some of you are new in this course. So I'll briefly introduce him to you. Professor Dr. Karanam Nagaraja Rao garu has worked as an officer both in government and private sectors for almost 30 years. Sorry. And worked as professor in a few universities for 10 years. He has completed MA in political science, history and sociology. He has also completed his PhD from JNTU in management science. His other accomplishments include advanced diploma in Vedanta from Chinmaya International Foundation, Kovida from Samskrita Bharati, and yoga diploma from Vyasa University. He has also done a course on Gita from Oxford Hindu Studies, Oxford University. He has published nearly 60, it may be even more now. So at that time when I had this article, profile is 60 in peer-reviewed national and international journals. He has 4 published books, same, it may be even more. Management Insights from Motivational Slokas, Business Ethics, and Analysis of Dharma from Mahabharata, Virata Parvam, and Principles and Practices of Risk and Insurance. These books are available in Amazon. Currently, after retirement as professor, he is engaged in teaching Gita to children in Zoom classes and engaged in writing articles in the blog unclekatha.com. His lectures on ethics on Mahabharata in English and stories from Mahabharata for children in Telugu can be viewed in his YouTube channel. So, with this very brief introduction, and I have the privilege and pleasure of introducing him to all of you. And let us request Dr. Karanam Nagaraja Rao garu to start the webinar, please.
शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्याये सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. Shubhodayam, good morning to everybody. As the organizers told, this is the first webinar in Mahabharata. We will be continuing this series for another 5 days. Mahabharata is a very vast subject, but in that 5-day event is one such occasion wherein we can be discussing a few aspects of Mahabharata. We may not be in a position to touch all aspects of Mahabharata because of the paucity of time, because it takes a lot of time to deliberate on all the issues of Mahabharata. Few issues of Mahabharata, what Mahabharata is there, something of that nature we will be discussing. Initially, today what I would like to discuss is what is the introduction to Mahabharata, what is in Mahabharata, why we should read it. Because before recording, the organizers were telling, Tinte garale tinali, vinte bharatam vinali, like that. Which means that if we eat, we have to eat that some tasty food of Andhra. And then if you want to read here means we should hear Mahabharata. Something of that nature. Gare cannot be translated into English, so that is the reason why. That is a special pudding in Mahabharata, in Andhra Pradesh. So here, Mahabharata is such a great book, and also an important book. It is an Itihasa literature. What is Itihasa and all these things? You must be knowing all these things by this time. But still, I will be telling something about Itihasa and other aspects of Mahabharata today. So here, before discussing anything, I would like to tell you one thing. Because a few years back means maybe some 3-4 decades back also, people, our parents and parents, that is my father, mother, and father's father, some grandfather. Those people were knowing Mahabharata, Ramayana, and all these things thoroughly. That I have seen from my own eyes. I have seen my father was having a lot of knowledge on Mahabharata. My father's father, he grandfather was also having a lot of knowledge on Mahabharata, Ramayana, and all these things. But maybe slowly, what happened is that because of the pressure of this syllabus and all this is reading of other aspects, so this is slowly going down, and maybe after a few years, there may not be any person who must have read entire Mahabharata. Even now also, I can bet there were very few people must have read Mahabharata. Maybe some people must have read entire Ramayana. But reading Mahabharata, maybe it is very difficult because one aspect is that it is 1 lakh shlokas are there in Mahabharata. 1 lakh shlokas consisting of 18 parvas of Mahabharata. Lot of discussion on dharma, artha, kama, moksha, and all these things. It's very difficult for a human being to read all those things. Anybody wants to read Mahabharata also, they will be reading some translations they can read, or they can view the Mahabharata story on TV channels. But TV channels viewing Mahabharata will not at all be sufficient. What is more important is that what is the Hridaya of Veda Vyasa. If we want to understand the Hridaya of Veda Vyasa, we need to read Mahabharata. For reading Mahabharata, it is very difficult again, because one is it is there in Sanskrit, number one. Second thing is that it is actually It is a very elaborate subject consisting of so much of 1 lakh shlokas. So many 1 lakh shlokas are there. So here, when you compare, that is the reason why people will be telling the literature of Sanatana Dharma is such that it cannot be compared with any other place in the world as a whole. Because you see, Iliad, Odyssey, and all these things, Greek literature supposed to be the greatest literature. That literature, if we compare single Mahabharata text, you can compare these two things. If you can compare, Mahabharata is 10 times bigger than Odyssey and Iliad put together. So Mahabharata is 4 times bigger than Ramayana. So this is the vastness of Mahabharata. So, but still, earlier people, they used to learn all this. They used to read all these things. That is why it is very famously it is still. Prataha Juta Prasangena Madhyahane Sri Prasangatah Ratro Chora Prasangena Kalo Gachati Dhimatam. Like that, people used to tell. It's a very fun, a lot of fun is there in this. Prataha Juta Prasangena. If we broadly see the Sanskrit shloka, what we can understand is that early morning, people used to listen Juta Prasangam. Juta Prasangam means they used to discuss Jutam because it is a game of dice or gambling, whatever you can call it. Nowadays, present day terminology. They used to discuss gambling in the early morning. In the Madhyahane Stri Prasangataha, they used to discuss about ladies. Means kama, those type of things they used to discuss. Ratro Chora Prasangena, in the night they used to discuss about thieves, how to steal money from other persons. These type of things they used to discuss. Like this, Kalo Gachati Dhimatam. Dhimatam means the people who are having lot of intellect, they used to spend the time like that. Nowadays, after retirement, people will be thinking, many people will be thinking, what I should do, what I should do. For this, they have to remember. Prataha Jyota Prasangena Madhyahane Stri Prasangataha Ratro Chora Prasangena Kalo Vachati Dhimatam. If they understand that by the poem, that will be very apt. Because what is this Jyota Prasangam? Early morning discussing gambling and all these things, Jyota Prasangam. So here, Jyota Prasangam means it is Mahabharata. It is actually, instead of telling Mahabharata, the poet, he has very beautifully he has written this shloka. Prataha Jyota Prasangena means early morning. They used to read Mahabharata. They used to discuss Mahabharata issues. Madhyahane Sri Prasangataha. In the afternoon, what they used to do? They used to discuss Sri Prasangataha, means that the story of Ramayana is revolving around Sita. In fact, Valmiki, when he started writing Valmiki Ramayana, he Sitayanam, that is a sentence, that is the title he has put it in initially. Subsequently, it is changed to Ramayanam. Sitayanam is actually the text. It is revolving around Sita. So, Madhyahane Stri Prasangataha. So that they will be discussing Ramayanam. In the night, Ratro Chora Prasangena, which means that night, Chora, who is the Chora, greatest Chora in the world is Sri Krishna himself. Like that, so they used to discuss Mahabhagavatam. So Ratro Chora Prasangena Kalo Gachati Dhimatam, they used to spend their time like that. Because that was the tradition that we were having just a few decades back. But slowly, because of so many reasons, globalization and all these things issues, we are actually forgetting Mahabharata, Ramayana also. And subsequently, what is happening is that we don't know the name of Veda Vyasa also sometimes, because it is my experience that when I was teaching my students in universities, sometimes while teaching ethics, I used to ask my students, who is Veda Vyasa? And the majority of the persons don't know his name also. One or two people may be knowing, and then they whatever they know is also they will be telling that it is actually is a writer. Beyond that, nothing about Veda Vyasa. So that is a issue anyway. So here, because that is the tradition that we were having maybe a few years back, was also a reading of Mahabharata, Ramayana, Bhagavatam, and all these things. But now people will be questioning why we should read all these things. It is a waste of time, something of that nature. That is the reason, before starting telling anything to you about Mahabharata, why we should read Mahabharata, that is also more important. Unless, because the student should be having some what is called initiate, some sort of yes, if I read this, I will be having some knowledge. If that aspect is there, it is only this whatever course that has been prescribed for you. Instead of writing some questions and answers and all these things and passing the examination, getting the certificate, that is not the purpose here. What is more important is that you need to understand what is there in our test, number one. Second thing is that you need to follow all those things. That is also important. Most of the persons will be knowing the theoretical knowledge, but practice is very much will not be there. The person who studied Bhagavad Gita, well versed in Bhagavad Gita also will be having lot of anger. The anger should not be there, and we should respect other persons. All these things are there. All this is respecting other persons, understanding the sentiment of other persons. All these things, issues are there in Bhagavad Gita, but most of the persons will be having a lot of anger, but they don't practice all those things. What is called in the day-to-day life, they will be having knowledge. That is not also sufficient. Here, the purpose of the Mahabharata is that we need to understand all those issues and we need to follow those principles. That is the idea. And then what is there in Mahabharata, so that we have to read all those things. That is the subject matter. Now, initially, my entire maybe in another 1 hour or 45 minutes, whatever it may be. What I would like to tell you is that the subject will be like this. Initially, I will be discussing why we should read Mahabharata. Number one. Then what is the vastness of Mahabharata, that which I already discussed. And then what are the contents of Mahabharata, what is there in Mahabharata, and then Mahabharata's other issues of Mahabharata, what it discusses. Then how it was composed by Veda Vyasa, that is also very much important. When it is composed, how it was actually spread across all the people, that is also we need to understand. Because if we write a book, and if you keep quiet, it will not go to the people. So how the message of Mahabharata has gone to different other areas, this type of issues I will be discussing. Maybe another 45 minutes I will be discussing. Then why we should read Mahabharata, this is the first aspect we need to understand. Here initially itself, Mahabharata very starting, Vedavyasa was telling one thing. He said, Dharmecha, Arthecha, Kamecha, Mokshecha, Bharatarshapa, Yadiha Asti Tadanyatra, Yenne Hasti Natat Kvachit. Like that he will be telling. Which means that in the aspects of Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, all these four things, because these are called Purusharthas. Because this is, you must have learnt all what are the Purusharthas and all these things in earlier classes. Maybe some other professor must have told you. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. These are the four Purusharthas for any human being existing on this upon the earth. So for him, in respect of all these four aspects, Dharmecha, Arthecha, Kamecha, Mokshecha, Bharatarshapa, Yadiha Asti Tadanyatra. What is there here is there anywhere else. That is the idea here. So whatever that is written down in Mahabharata is there in some other place. No extra is there. What is not here? Enne hasti natat kvachit. Whatever is not there here in respect of all these four things is not there anywhere else. Like that, Veda Vyasa has written so much of confidence he has written down, that whatever that is there done in respect of Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, those things are found in Mahabharata. So read it. Like that, he begins Mahabharata by telling this particular shloka, and then he proceeds with writing Mahabharata. So that is a reason why, if we want to understand Purusharthas, what are the Purusharthas? Purusharthas as a case studies, if we want to understand, you need to read Mahabharata. One aspect. The second aspect is that we need to understand the scheme of our rishis in spreading Sanatana Dharma. The scheme of rishis is rishis including Veda Vyasa and earlier rishis. The idea is that they are having a lot of passion that whatever Vedic knowledge is there, that Vedic knowledge has to go to the common people. That is their idea. If you write, if you compose Vedas, what will happen? The Vedas is actually, understanding Vedas is very difficult, please. One aspect is that even the people who know Sanskrit, they can't understand Vedas, Vedic mantras, because the Sanskrit that is there in these shlokas, in what is called this Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda, and other Veda, and all these things, it is a little bit different from the ordinary Sanskrit that we speak today. That is a little classical Sanskrit, difficult to understand, number one. And the second thing is that Vedic dictums are like sutras. Sutras means they will be telling a small word they will tell, leave it like that. Say one thing, Vedas means including Upanishads. Athato Brahma Jignasa. If we tell like that, it is Brahma Sutra, the first sutra of Brahma Sutra. Athato Brahma Jignasa. What is Athato Brahma Jignasa? Thing is that if you go to a great spiritual leader and sit with him, he will discuss about this Athato Brahma Jignasa. This is only 3 words, Athato Brahma Jignasa. This he will be discussing at least 1 week. I had an occasion to go to Chinmaya mission on one occasion. Swami Tejomayananda was giving a lecture on Brahma Sutras for 6 days. It is actually a camp organized by Chinmaya mission. I went there. Kerala, I went there. For 6 days I was there. He discussed only 3 Brahma Sutras for 6 days he discussed. And then ultimately he told that I have not discussed it properly because so much is left out, which has to be discussed here. So that is what is there. It is to understand Athato Brahma Jignasa, it is very difficult to understand. Similarly, we may think that Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara, these type of things we will be talking. But if just like that we hear and then okay, Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara, we will be going away like that. But if the same Satyam Vada or Dharmam Chara, whatever it may be, if it is put into a character, say this is Harishchandra was there, Harishchandra was like that and he was following Satyam and what are the ordeals he faced and ultimately how he came victorious. If you tell the entire story, what will happen? It will give an imprint in the minds of all the people and people will be understanding that particular aspect in a clear fashion. So this is the importance of Satya, that is called truth. This is the importance of Dharma. They will be understanding that. Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma, they will be telling. Rama was following the Dharma. So that is why Rama is the hero in Ramayana. Here Yudhishthira, the very great son of Dharma, Dharma Devata. So he is here the greatest character. Only why these 2 characters are taken out both from Valmiki and Vedavyasa is that there Rama himself is Vigrahavan Dharma. He is a hero, and here the son of Dharma Devata, that is Dharmaraja, is a hero here. So he will be spreading the message of Dharma. These 2 characters are important characters both in Ramayana and Mahabharata. So the spreading of Dharma is more important. Spreading of Dharma and making people understand Dharma is more important. So you can go back to our society, and if you look back to our society, see how it will happen maybe 4,000 years, 5,000 years back also. Or if you don't have evidences of Charitrika evidences are not there, at least the Chola literature. So from there itself, what we can understand is that people in the villages, even though there was no king, king is not there, whoever it may be, the society was being run in a very smooth fashion because of the existence of Dharma. What is Dharma? Nobody knows Dharma. What is Dharma? Because everybody will be talking about Dharma. It is not Dharma to follow this type of thing. This is the Dharma to follow this type of thing. Like that, people know Dharma. Because there's some sort of unknown thing, unknown aspect that was actually guiding the entire destinies of all the people. That was the thing. So here the scheme of rishis was actually they spread this dharma, because how big the entire society was run for so many years without any laws, without any constitution, what we can call of present day constitution. Without constitution nowadays nothing can be run. People are organized in such a way that for each and everything there is a lot of because a lot of litigation will be coming only everything if everything is written down. Otherwise, no constitution is not there, no litigation is there. So like that, maybe a broad statement, of course, constitution should be there for nowadays. That is a different issue. We are not going deep into that aspect. What is important here is that in olden days, without any law, also people were having a very good society, because that is the reason is that they were having the principles of dharma were there in their minds. How it was there in their minds? Because it was spread by great rishis earlier. How they spread it? They wanted to spread it. Initially, Vedas are there, Upanishads are there. Those can be understood only by a few people. If few people can understand all those things, and if it is not percolated down to the masses, what is the use of Vedas? So they started Vedopa Brahmanarthaya. The people will be telling, while what is called Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana, Valmiki writes like that, Vedopa Brahmanarthaya. Same thing, Veda Vyasa also writes. Here, whatever that is there in Vedas, that is to be told to the common people. That is why they started the secondary literature, which is called, one is Shruti Smrutis are over. Then they came down to Itihasas. Itihasas are the two Itihasas we are having, famous Itihasas. Is one is Ramayana and one is Mahabharata. This is what is Itihasa? Dharmartha Kama Mokshanam Upadesha Samanvitam Purvavrutta Katha Yuktam Itihasam Prachachate, like that they will be telling. Itihasa, which means that this has happened like that. The people who existed earlier, the same people they have taken into consideration, and over that this Dharma, Kama, Moksha, Artha, all these four principles which are there, which are to be followed by all these persons, are actually put over these characters. Purva Vrutta Katha Yuktam. Whatever that has happened earlier, those things are told in a Katha fashion. And then that has to be spread to the common people. People will be understanding like that. So in this way, they started putting Itihasas. When Itihasa literature is developed, what happened? Common people also, common ordinary people also started reading Mahabharata, started reading Ramayana, and then they will be discussing. So suppose one example, charity is there. How charity should be given? The subject comes. So then Bhagavad Gita tells one shloka, it will be telling this Sattvika Danam, what is Sattvika Danam, what is Rajasika Danam, what is Tamasik Danam, they will be discussing, and they will leave like that. So then Mahabharata, what it takes is that they take a case study of Dharmaraja's what is called Dhanam, that is called charity, in while he conducted the Rajasuya Yagam. Then the small mongoose story we know. That mongoose, when it went to Saktuparta, then what is the Dhanam he has done it. And then what is the comparison of between the two? The Dhanam should be given, whether it should be given, how it should be given. This type of case study will be discussed. Entire case study will be discussed. Then similarly, Karna is there. Karna has given his taken out his kavacha and he has given it to Indra. And then the same thing will be compared with the Bali Chakravarti. Bali Chakravarti is there. He has given what is the entire thing he has given to the Lord Krishna. Or for that matter, Shibi Chakravarti is there. Entire thing he has given. Compare this 2-3 danas, whatever that is there. And which is great and which is not great. Which is Rajasic, which is Tamasic, which is Sattvic Dharma. These type of things they will be discussing here. So common people will be understanding, even though they don't know Bhagavad Gita, they will be understanding the components of Bhagavad Gita by reading these small stories. That is why Mahabharata actually, Mahabharatam storyline is very small. Characters, Ramayana, Duryodhana, many people I will be asking, have you sometime discussing about Mahabharata? People will be, I know Mahabharata. What do you know Mahabharata? I know Mahabharata, Ramayana, Dharmaraja is there, Bhima is there, Nakula Sahadeva, these type of things. And I have seen in what is called TV channel. TV channel, what they will be showing a small one war is there. That war will be magnified, and then there will be a lot of cinematographic effects will be there, graphic effects will be there. With that, they wanted to show the things. It is only for attracting the audience. Where is Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha? Whether they have discussed it or not, we don't know. All these things will not be discussed. Second thing is that, so many TV channels or films, whatever it may be, they will be taking the storyline from the moral lenses of today. So if we take the moral lenses of today, very difficult to understand Mahabharata and Ramayana. We need to make our mind blank and we need to read it. So this is actually the Vedas. In order to understand Vedic knowledge or Upanishadic knowledge, we need to read Mahabharata and Ramayana. That is the reason why the people call it Prabhu Samhita, Mitra Samhita, Kanta Samhita. 3 words are there. One is that Prabhu Samhita. Prabhu Samhita means Vedas will be telling something to the people like a Prabhu. Prabhu means king will be telling something. Do this, don't do this, like that. Do's and don'ts will be there in Vedas. One thing is that then those are to be understood. So itihasas will be coming into the picture. They are Mitra Samhita, people call. Mitra Samhita means like a friend coming to you and giving you an example, a story, and then he will be elaborating the same thing. That is called Mitra Samhita. The Mahabharata and Ramayana belong to that category. And then there is called Kanta Samhita. Kanta Samhita means like a lover coming to you and telling you in your something. She or he will be telling in your ear, and then you hear it more. That is what we can call Kanta Samhita. That is called Kavyam. Kavyam has developed like that. Kavyams are there, no? Kalidasa Kavyams, Bhavabhuti, and Dandi, and all these persons, whatever Kavyas they have written. That Kavya is actually, the literature is so much of the Raghuvamsam. If you begin to read, the entire the Dharma that is discussed in Mahabharata is discussed in Raghuvamsa also. But storyline alone, if you read it, you will be forgetting all those things. You are actually losing the essence of Mahabharata, losing the essence of Vedas. So this is a scheme of things of rishis. So initially Vedas, Upanishads, then that is one type of literature catering to few people. The second thing is itihasas. Itihasas are also not understood. Then they come to Puranas. Elaborate discussion, taking a storyline, discussing the story in chapters and chapters, and they will be elaborating Puranas. So all these things, the ultimate purpose is that you need to understand Vedas only. So in order to interpret Vedas, what is more important? Itihasas and Puranas are important. Itihasa Purana Bhyam Vedam Samupabrahmayet, they tell. So we understand the meaning of Vedas from Itihasas and Puranas. That is idea. Vedas, Itihasa, Vedas and Upanishads. The literature, if you want to understand, it is okay if you read Mahabharata and Ramayana, Itihasas if we read. That is idea of Mahabharata. That is why also we need to read it is called Mahabharata. This is the second important aspect of importance of Mahabharata. Then the most important aspect of Mahabharata is that why should we bring the whatever that has happened some 5,000 years back? Why that book is to be read now? So many other books are there. So many books are there dealing with all these subjects, ethics subject. Many books are there dealing with this ethics. Then why we should read Mahabharata, Ramayana, and all those things? Yeah, there is one thing is that there are much Western literature is also there. Plato is there, Aristotle is there, and Machiavelli is there. All these persons are there. Those type of persons also we can read and we can understand whatever ethics, what ethical principles, aspects, and all these things. Rousseau, this type of persons. But why we are reading Mahabharata, Ramayana? And this is also one question people will be asking. Here the question is, the answer is that you can read the Western literature also and understand ethics and all these things. The thing is that every culture will be having its pride. Suppose I was having a student in my class, MBA student. That person was used to argue like this, and why we should read Mahabharata, Ramayana, and all these things. He was not understanding it properly. He was placed in some multinational company. He was there in UK, and on one occasion, it so happened that he was a successful manager also. And on one occasion, his CEO happens to be a Christian. He came to him, down to him, on one day, and the CEO of that company, he was asking this boy, my dear boy, you are from India, great culture you represent. I would like to know something about Bhagavad Gita, which I have not read, and even if I begin to read, I can't understand it properly. Can you tell something about Bhagavad Gita for a few days? I can be your disciple like that. Then this man was so much aghast. He was not buying a single shloka of what is called our Bhagavad Gita. He does not know Ramayana, Bharata. He is well expertised in management principles and all these things. The thing is that in order to represent our country's pride, he has written a mail at the time for me. So this is, you were discussing in ethics classes, you were telling these type of things. And now I face the difficulty because when I am representing, when I am just leaving my country and go to some other place, I am representing the country as a whole. This is the idea, please. Here, in order to have the cultural pride is also important. People will be telling your forefathers, they don't have any civilization. People will be Rudyard Kipling is there. No, he used to tell it is a white man's burden, like that he used to tell. White man's burden to civilize Indians. That is why we have come here. And you read Rudyard Kipling's poems and all these things. All those things are as it is true translations of Vedic thoughts, true translations of Bhagavad Gita shlokas. You can compare it also. I can show you also if you want. Like that. The thing is that Rudyard Kipling, the many authors, Western authors, they have actually studied this Bhagavad Gita, and they copied the principles of Bhagavad Gita. Went there, they published, they got good name and all these things, and again they were telling that it is a white man's burden. If you begin to tell like that, suppose if somebody is insulting your father, how do you feel it? Similarly, if somebody is insulting our culture, so how do you feel it? In order to understand those things, the cultural roots and traditional roots are there in Mahabharata. So if you understand, if you read Mahabharata and all these things, many traditions we come across, many traditions which we follow even now also. Why all this is Ramayana, if you take into consideration, what happens is that in Ramayana, Sita Rama Kalyanam is there. Whatever shlokas that are there in Ramayana, many shlokas are being recited even now also in the podiums of while celebrating our marriage performance and all these things. They will be telling all the Sanskrit shlokas. They will be telling the Nati Charami is there. That is very famous word, that famous thing that has come from Ramayana. So like that, what will happen is that we will be understanding the importance of our culture, the traditions. All these things are embedded in Mahabharata. All these things are embedded in Ramayana. That is also one of the reasons we should read Mahabharata. And one more thing is that the maybe why we should read Mahabharata means it is actually many social issues that we are now facing. Social issues we are facing, the day-to-day life we are facing. No, but social issues are also discussed in Mahabharata. Particularly, what we can call this Varna, Jati, caste, and all these things. If you want to understand this real meanings of all these things, you need to go back and see Mahabharata. And Mahabharata or Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is also a component of Mahabharata only. Bhishma Parva it is there. Bhagavad Gita is there in Bhishma Parva of Mahabharata. So here, what happens is that they will be discussing Varna, how Varna has evolved, what is the purpose of Varna, those type of things. If you understand those type of things, we can interpret those things, the current day problems also. We can interpret current day problems and also the solutions for that. The unnecessary interpretations for that we can avoid and all these things. And we can spread the true knowledge to our people also. That is also there. So here this division is there now, what we can call Brahmana, Kshatriya, Shudra, Vaishya and all these things are there. Now those things actually they were not so popular in Mahabharata times. It is actually anybody is having that good gunas is Brahmin. Anybody is having a lot of warrior nature, he is a Kshatriya, like that. And that is the reason why they will be telling that Mahabharata, it is very specifically mentioned that it is only Varna division is based on what we can call Guna Karma Vibhagayoho. Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. Guna and Karma are the deciding factors for people to decide whether he is a Brahmin or Kshatriya or Vaishya or Shudra. The discussion is there in Mahabharata, many places it comes across. Yaksha Prasna, it is there. Yaksha Prasnas are there it is there. Nahusha Prasna, it is there also it is there. Dharma Vyadha Upakhyanam is there also it is there. And many number of places the issue has been discussed. And it is also discussed in Vanaparva of Mahabharata, Shanti Parva of Mahabharata, Anushashanika Parva of Mahabharata. Like that, many places this discussion is there. If you understand that, what will happen is that this caste and all these things are subsequent interpolations only to the Sanatana Dharma, and they have come like that. I will be telling one thing, because whether Shudra Yonopi Jatasya Sadgunanu Pratishtitaha Vaishyatvam Labhate Brahman Kshatriyatvam Tathaivasha, like that it is a very famous shloka in Vanaparva of Mahabharata. A person, a born Shudra is there. And born Shudra means he is born to a family of Shudra, mother and father Shudras. He is a Shudra. we call him as Shudra, Shudra like that. Is there really distinguishing people like that? No, it's not like that. Shudra yonopi jatasya sadgunanu pratishtitaha. If he is having sadgunas, good quality, sattva gunas are there, Vaishyatvam lapate Brahman, he will become Vaishya, he can become Brahma. He can become Kshatriyatvam tathaivacha, like that. Brahman, even then he can become Brahmin like that. So here the progression is always allowed in Mahabharata, because yes, Shudra can become a Vaishya, he can become a Kshatriya, he can become a Brahmin. Similarly, there is a question, specific question is there in what is called Yaksha Prasnas. Then the Yaksha will be asking Dharmaraja. Dharmaraja, I will be asking you one question. Can a person, a born Brahmin is there, can you consider him as a Brahmin if he is not having good qualities? Sattva gunas are not there, can you consider him? No, he tells. Dharmaraja tells like that. No, it is not like that. No, if a person is born to a Brahmin person, and if he is not having these qualities, whatever qualities that we are mentioning for Brahmanatvam, if they are not there, he can be downgraded, then he can be called Shudra, because such a distinction Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya and Brahman is basically on the basis of what you can call, what is your attitude towards life, how you behave in the society. Those things will be deciding, and not your birth. It will not be deciding. Those type of things, if you understand properly the perspective of Mahabharata, if you understand, those things can be told even now also to the people. Ashwalayana Guhya Sutras, all these things are there. And Ashwalayana Guhya Sutras, it is very clearly mentioned that a Brahmin cook should be a Shudra. Like that it is mentioned, but nowadays people will be telling Brahmin, I am actually traditional Brahmin, I am muddy and all these things they will be telling, I don't touch, and they are not like that, please. It is actually, if you really read all those things are there. It is an egalitarian society. If you understand our culture, roots and all these things, any person, if you want to discuss in a what is called a dharmic argument, if you want to discuss, you can go deep, and you can as well you can understand all these things. So that is why these are the one of the these are the some more issues which we, in order to understand the societal problems, societal issues, solutions for the societal problems, you need to go back to Bharata, Ramayana, and you need to read all those things. And this is the thing. Then after discussing all these things, we will be having some what is called, yes, this is the Mahabharata which we have to read it. Then once you decided that we have to read Mahabharata, then how it was composed, that is also there. I may just say it is 7:15. Sorry, the time is there, no? Another 15 minutes, huh? I believe another
Yes,
15, 20 minutes.
you have time. Yeah.
I have time. Okay, another 15, 20 minutes I am having. So here, this is the importance of Mahabharata. Once the importance of Mahabharata is told, then how the Mahabharata was actually, the purpose of Mahabharata is to spread the message of Vedas to common people. That after discussing that, how Veda Vyasa has written it. Veda Vyasa actually, he composed the entire Mahabharata in his mind initially. In his mind, Jnana Netra is there. From the Jnana Netra, he could visualize what is Mahabharata, entire Mahabharata. Because he is actually both a player, he is also a witness to Mahabharata, what is happening in Mahabharata. Times he was there, he was physically, he was with Dharmaraja, all these persons he has seen it. He is also an actor and also he is a writer of Mahabharata. So then one more thing is that from his Jnana Netra, he could visualize the entire storyline, and also he could see the Vedas, Vedangas, Puranas and all these things vividly, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha and all these things. He could visualize from his Jnana Netra. He also visualized the geography, entities of the entire world. He could see where the mountains are there, he could see where the lakes are there, where the oceans are there. He could see the law, morals, ethics, and all these things. He could visualize. He could see the worries, deaths, and the happinesses of the people, and all these things. He has visualized. He has visualized what is called the entire Srushti, how it happened, the evolution of the entire Srushti. All these things he visualized. Then he wanted to tell all these things. So many things he wanted. So much of knowledge is there in his mind. And then the knowledge has to be given to the people. Then what is the solution? He was thinking at the time, the people in the Mahabharata, it is written down that Brahma Chaturmukha Brahma has come there and he was asking Vedavyasa, what is your problem? Then he was telling, I have visualized entire Mahabharata in his mind, then what to do like that? Then he told, you write it down because it should be written down. Then only it will be known to the people. Otherwise, the knowledge will perish with you only. When Vedavyasa understood, but who is a writer? Then he suggested take the help of Ganapati, and Ganesha came there. When Ganesha came there, Ganesha has put a condition to the Vedavyasa, stating that Mr. Vedavyasa, I will be writing whatever you are telling. Thing is that my Lekhini should not stop at any place, and I will be writing. You start telling, and I will be writing. I can't stop at any particular place, whatever may be the number of days. I will be writing. You tell it. Then Vedavyasa thought for a while and he told, okay, thing is that it is Vedavyasa also need to deliberate on some issues, no? So before telling, he is having a lot of Vedas and all Purana, all these things he is having the knowledge, but while telling, he also must need some time. What he told is that, okay, I will be telling the entire thing. What you have to do is that you need to understand each and every shloka that I am going to tell, and then only you have to write. Without understanding, suppose something you can't understand, you can't write it. You need to understand it thoroughly, and then only you should write. Then Ganesha agreed, okay, because he is Ganesha is a lord of all knowledge. So no, okay, no problem with it. But Vedavyasa started telling, and what he did know, while he wanted to compose some great thoughts at the time, he used to put a difficult shloka to Ganesha, and then he used to think over. Ganesha also has to, for understanding that particular shloka, maybe the single shloka will be having 5 or 6 type of what is called interpretation should be there for that. Very difficult to understand. What is Vedavyasa Hrudayam? It is very difficult to understand. So what happened is that he has to understand and he takes some time. By that time, Vedavyasa used to compose in his own mind some more shlokas and he used to tell like that. So it went on like that. So whatever that difficult shlokas are there, no, they are called Grantha Granthi is what we can call. The 8,800 shlokas are there like that. Those shlokas he told, and those shlokas are actually very difficult shlokas. Even now also, different interpreters will be differently interpreting all these things, and of course it is very difficult to understand like that. Those shlokas also written down, and then it went on like that. And then once the entire thing, the entire Mahabharata was written down in, it is told in Mahabharata itself that they took 3 years to complete the entire Mahabharata. Once the entire Mahabharata is over, then the thing is that should go to the people again. That is also important. Nowadays we are having so many YouTube channels are there, lectures are there, so many other things are avenues are there, social media is there. But thing is that nobody will be reading, that is a different issue. But anyway, in those days, nothing is there. The what to do? Then he thought of, he told the entire Mahabharata to his 4 disciples initially. Vaishampayana, Sumanta, Jaimini, like the people are there. Those people he told, and subsequently Vaishampayana he assigned the work of spreading the entire thing to Bhuloka. And Narada was given the task of spreading the message in the Devaloka. And then Devala, one person is there that Devala was given assigned to spread the message of Mahabharata in Pitruloka. And then he went like that. Narada went to Swargaloka and he started spreading Mahabharata. And similarly, one more, Shuka Maharshi. Shuka Maharshi was assigned the work of telling this entire thing to this Rakshasas and other people also. They also should know it. So he started, those persons he started telling. Then also this Pachi means what we can call these birds and all these things. All other creatures other than human beings, Shuka Maharshi was assigned that particular task. So like that, different people went to different places. Vaishampayana, where he went, Vaishampayana went to the court of Parikshit. Parikshit story line, we know. The Parikshit, when he was bitten by the Takshaka, and Parikshit wanted to hear, it is not Parikshit, Janameja court, it is not Parikshit court. Who is Janameja? Janameja is actually a great grandson of Arjuna. One is Arjuna's son is Abhimanyu, Abhimanyu's son is Parikshit, and Parikshit's son is Janamejaya. That Janamejaya, he was conducting Sarpayaga, and after that he wanted to listen entire thing. So then what happened is that Ugrashrava, one person who heard the story from Vaishampayana, he came here and he started telling the entire thing to these persons, Janamejaya court. So then Vaishampayana, he like that Vaishampayana initially told, and then that was legend, and then it has come to the Ugrashrava, and he was telling like that the entire storyline. Anyway, great sages, they came there and they started spreading the message of Mahabharata to different people. Subsequently, Shaunaka Maharshi and all of those persons also listened the entire storyline, and they started spreading the entire message of Mahabharata to different people. So like that, these are two persons. Ugrashrava is one person, and Janamejaya, Vaishampayana is one person. These two persons are also responsible for spreading the entire Mahabharata to the common people in different podiums and all these things. So like that, the entire Mahabharata has come down to common people. And then initially itself, Mahabharata, Veda Vyasa has told that this is the storyline which I have told, and subsequently this story will be the subject matter for many other persons. That also he has written down. Here he himself he has written down that whatever that is written down, this will be the storyline for many other people here afterwards. Like that, Sarvesham Kavimukyanam Upajivyo Bhavishyati, like that he writes. Parjanya eva bhutanam akshayo bharata druma, which means that like Megha means that cloud will be there. The cloud will be giving rain to different people across the world. Similarly, this Mahabharata will be giving the knowledge to different poets so that they can write down their own poems and all these things. Sarvesham Kavimukhyana Upajivyo Bhavishyati, like that he writes. So then similarly, what happened subsequently is that many persons started reciting Mahabharata, and Mahabharata came down in different forms. So many people are responsible, so many great persons are responsible. Even now also, many people are telling Mahabharata, because there are many people have already told. Why again you should tell means, and again each person will be viewing Mahabharata from his own perspective, and he will be having his own visualization, and everybody understand Mahabharata in some different form. That is why what happens is that even if same Mahabharata, if you read, you understand something, some other person will be understanding in some other fashion. So the thing is that this message should go like that. So that is the reason why we should read again is again, if elders know it, they can tell some stories, at least stories, and also dharma, particularly to children. Children can also understand. That is the reason why we also should read Mahabharata. Sarvesham Kavimukhyana Upajivyo Bhavishyati. It went on like that. So ultimately, what happened is that the Mahabharata has spread like that, and it went to the different people. And what is the importance of Mahabharata is that it one more importance is that it is having a lot of content in it. We come across a Bhagavad Gita. It is there in Mahabharata. Sanasujatiyam. It is there in Mahabharata. Sanasujatiyam is there. It is in Mahabharata. Vishnu Sahasranama is there. Shiva Sahasranama is there. Then Viduraniti is there. Yaksha Prasnas is there. Dharma Vyadopakyanam is there. That all these things are there. So what is happening is that most of our whatever literature that we are having even now also, it is being inspired by Mahabharata. That is why that is why only he has told. And then the people who are having a lot of knowledge on Dharma, they say that it is Dharma Shastram. People who are having a lot of knowledge in Vedantins, they tell that it is a Vedanta Shastra. Then the poets will tell it is a Kavyam. Like that, each person will be being, then people who are having Rajaniti, they tell that it is a Rajaniti Shastram. And nowadays, people who study this subject from management perspective, they think that it is all pure management only. The people who are experts in psychology, they tell that it is a Shastra and psychology, Manasika Shastra. Like that, this is whatever Shastra, what you name it, this is there in Mahabharata. So this is why everybody is attracted to Mahabharata. Everybody will be reading Mahabharata. This is one aspect of Mahabharata. Then, if you want to read Mahabharata, what is the source for it? Which Mahabharata we should read? And then that is also one more question. What is the anecdote from when people were knowing this Mahabharata? If you go back to the little history, what will happen is that maybe this Mahabharata, from the different sources, what we can see is that it is known to the people maybe some thousands of years back, also some few hundreds years back. People were maybe some 3,000-4,000 years back also. This Mahabharata is there. This subject is known to the people in our country. And then how do you tell like that? Ashtadhyayi, Panini's Ashtadhyayi is there. Now Panini's Ashtadhyayi, Panini was there in believed to be there in 4th century BC according to the current historians. But according to traditional people, they tell that Panini was much earlier person. He may be belonging to the some 9th century BC. People tell 9th century BC person, much earlier to Buddha, much earlier to Vardhamana Mahavira. Those persons, they are all 3rd century BC, no? So it is somewhere long back. But so people, at least our historians also tell that he is a 4th century BC, much earlier to Buddha, Jaina, and all these persons. That Ashtadhyayi, he has mentioned Mahabharata. It is there, Mahabharata is there. He has mentioned it in Panini Ashtadhyayana. It is mentioned. Ashwalayana Guhya Sutras, they are also belonging to that period. That time also they have mentioned about Mahabharata. They have mentioned Mahabharata is known to the people, that is there. And subsequently what happened is that even now current day historians also believe that the entire Mahabharata is known to many people by 4th century AD. 4th century AD, that is, we are having some copper plate descriptions are also there. That particularly one person by name Maharaja Sharvanatha, one person is there. Maharaja Sharvanatha, he is from Maharashtra area. KHOH, Koh area. Koh area, he is around 530 AD, something of that nature. Then a copper plate, he has mentioned in this copper plate inscription, what we can call. In the copper plate inscription, he describes Mahabharata as a collection of 1 lakh verses. By that time, 1 lakh verses are popularly known by at least by 5th century. It is a recorded evidence. According to recorded evidence, the copper plate inscription, even now that is there, Shata Sahasri Samhita, like that. In that, it is mentioned that Mahabharata is having 1 lakh shlokas, and then 1 lakh shloka he has mentioned in the copper plate inscription. He has mentioned. So like that, this has been there for long. It is there. Maybe 8th century BC. Panini has mentioned means from there the time onwards. Maybe that is some 800, 900 years, and then here again 2,300 years and 3,000 years back. Definitely, the Mahabharata was known to the people. Like that, we can deduce, or maybe earlier also it may be there, but we don't know. Evidences are not there. That is the thing. Or maybe there, I may not be knowing. That is also there. Then it has to be, because when it is there, it has to be translated to different areas. So initially, the translation work initially started in different regional language. It started maybe in 11th, 12th, 13th century, those type of period. It is elaborately translated into Telugu literature. And then I don't know about other literature because I belong to Andhra area. I know that the Telugu literature, Nannaya, Tikkana, Yarra, Pragada, 3 persons are there. They started writing in 11th century and 13th century. The entire Mahabharata was completed in the 15th. By 15th century, it was actually Telugu people were knowing all these things. And then like that, most of other literatures also must be having this. By that time, people must have translated this to different regional languages for the purpose of the people in regional languages. Maybe the first complete translation of it into English, it was done by Ganguly, one person. Ganguly is a Bengali writer. He is a Kisari, Kisari, Kisari Mohan Ganguly, like that one person. He has actually somewhere in 1883 he started translating Mahabharata into English, and it took for him for translation. Just sloka is there; it is to be translated. The translation itself took 13 years for him to complete it continuously. Whatever that has been completed in 3 years by Veda Vyasa and Ganapati put together, that was actually translation work. It took 13 years and then it was completed. Even now also that Kesari Mohan Ganguly Mahabharata is available in Amazon and also Flipkart. Then subsequently, this entire Mahabharata is translated. And then subsequently, Vivek Devrai, he has also translated the entire Mahabharata into English. By that, it is translated into English. So when it is translated into English, it was read by many other persons. And between 1919 to 1966 period, what happened is that scholars of the Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute, it is in there in Pune. By that time, what happened is that by the start of the 20th century, people were having many versions of Mahabharata in different places. Bengali version is there, Tamil Nadu version, Kumbakonam version, like that many versions were there. They started pulling out all this, what is called 1919 to 1966. See, there's so many around 55 years period. Say 1920 to 1966, at least 46 years period. The scholars, they were assigned the particular task of editing this Mahabharata by seeing all the versions. They started looking at all the versions and the common shlokas are picked up. And all the places they found that it is amazingly, they found that most of the places slight patantara was there in here and there, but otherwise most of the shlokas are common only. They took out all the shlokas and put it in one form. And they came out with one edition that is called that is called that university. What is the university? Bhandarkar Research Institute, and that is also available in Amazon, Google, and all this. That is also available. That is one of the standard tests even now also. Standard test, which is because so many great scholars sat together, and there was no dispute. Like our judgments 9-4 judge bench is giving some day before yesterday also they have given one judgment like that 4:3 like that 4 persons agreed 3 persons did not agree. It's not like that. Here all the scholars actually they have agreed together that yes, this can be inserted here. This is original shloka. This is the original shloka like that. They took it out and then they have come out with a great edition that is called Bhandarkar Research Institute edition is there. And we are also having one Tamil Nadu version is also there. That is a Kumbhakona Prati, what we can call Kumbhakona. It is also there. That is also supposed to be a standard one. And after seeing all these things, our Gita Press is there. Now Gita Press has come out in different languages, of course, different languages. Sanskrit Shloka is there. Sanskrit Shloka is written down in regional language, and then the meaning is also written down. The meaning is also written down so that it can be understood easily. So like that they have started Gita Press. Gita Press is there now. Gorakhpur Press, that is called also Gita Press people. They have also come out. That book is also available. So anybody serious readers who wanted to understand Mahabharata, they can go to any of these things, and they can try to read all this Mahabharata from all these places. And the time is actually 7:40 almost. This is a broad idea of Mahabharata, please. Mahabharata, what else I have left out? Traditions, of course, most of the traditions which we have now today, even now day-to-day activities, all those things are there in Mahabharata, and that can be discussed in due course of time. We will be discussing it. And then what else? What I would like to tell you is that in the next what is called webinar, how I would like to discuss Mahabharata is that Mahabharata can't be discussed like say some principles of these are the principles that are there in Vidraniti Vital may not be easy to understand. So here, as I discussed in this same in the present lecture, maybe I will be taking some characters of Mahabharata. The characters I will take it will be used as a case study. The case study, don't think that it is a story. It is a story also. The story will be taken out. From the story, we try to understand some aspects of Dharma. So this is Dharma and this is not Dharma, how they were discussing. Because Mahabharata is a book which is consisting of Dharma Sushmata, one term is there. Dharma Sushmata means it is difficult to understand Dharma Sushmata. Sometimes Dharma is there. What is Dharma Sushmata? Means what is to be understood behind the lines. That is more important. What is written down is not important. The letter of the law is not important. The spirit of the law is important. That is the idea here. The spirit of the law is called Dharma Sushmata. The Dharma Sushmata will be there because most of the time in certain aspect, should we tell truth, should we not tell truth? In certain aspect, should we kill or should we not kill? This type of issues. Even Bhagavad Gita itself has come out with those type of arguments only, no? Because Swadharmam or not to follow Swadharmam, those type of issues are there. Because of this reason, the entire Bhagavad Gita has developed. So here, those type of dharma sushmatas will be there. Those type of dharma sushmatas, I will be taking up one storyline. The storyline picked up one aspect of dharma sushmata will be discussed. Maybe another 4 lectures like that. Maybe the entire Mahabharata can't be discussed anyway in 4 days. That 4 days I will try to spend as much as time because important characters. Say Ekalavya character is there, Karna character is there. Sometimes misunderstood perceptions will be there. The misunderstood perceptions should be removed. Because in Ramayana also there are a lot of misconceptions will be there. Ahalya has become a stone. No, nothing is there. Guha has taken Rama in his, he wanted to clean the feet of Rama and then he has asked him to sit there. No, it's not there in Valmiki Ramayana. Like that. There are some misconceptions of Mahabharata will also be there. Draupadi has laughed at Duryodhana. It is not there in Mahabharata. If you begin to see all those things, it is great, amazing points will be coming up across when compared to TV serials and all these things. And Draupadi wanted to have Karna as a sixth as a husband. No, nowhere it is there. Those type of things also we'll be discussing maybe in the due course of our subject matter. So this is how the plan of scheme of things in the next 4 days. And with this, I would like to close my lecture today, and then I will be open for discussions, questions, and all this is for another 15 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever it may be.
ధన్యవాదములండి. Thank you so much for your introduction and also various very important aspects of Mahabharatam. Now, anybody wants to ask any questions, like Sharada garu?
Namaskaraha Mahodaya. What I read is Kurukshetra war was about 5,150 years ago. Is it correct or not?
Madam, it is actually written down as 5,132 BC Kurukshetra war happened, like that people tell. 5,132 BC, people tell like that. But there are a lot of arguments over this, whether it is 5,132 BC or it is again 2,100 and odd BC, something of that nature. So this is these are actually each person will be interpreting in his own fashion, and they have come out like that. Traditional scholars even now also they believe that they believe that it happened in 5,132 BC. But why this one more thing has come up means according to Bible, you can see, Bible, the entire world was created in 4,000 BC, 4,004 or something like that. The entire Srushti has happened like that. God has come there and he told, yes, there should be Srushti, and Srushti was there. Yes, there should be light was there, like that Bible it mentions. So when Christians, they came to India, English people came to India, they can't digest the particular aspect that is 5,132 BC it has happened means Srushti itself is not there. How it is actually it is contradicting with biblical thought. So the historians who started writing Indian history, particularly Vincent Smith is there. Vincent Smith is the first person who wrote the Indian history. The Vincent Smith started writing that it is the entire thing, whatever that has happened earlier also, without seeing all those things, just like that he wanted to squeeze all those things after 4,000 only. So he started telling that it is Vedic period, early Vedic period, then Ityasa period, Purana period, like that he started dividing the Indian history in that fashion, and he started putting all these things here only. He started putting after 4,000 BC. Only when the Indus Valley civilization developed, at the time only it is emphatically proved that the civilization was much earlier than 5,000, much earlier. it is actually 900, 1800 BC or to 2500 BC, something of that nature. Then only people started realizing that we are having that much of what we can call that civilization we were having in those days, like that. So there also he started interpreting that there is Aryan invasion, like that. Those type of issues it is not there. Even 5132 it happened or not, I can't tell from my perspective, because it is actually must have happened, because traditional scholars believe that it is 5132 BC. Some latest scholars like Veda Vyasa, one person is there. It recently is an IAS officer from Andhra Pradesh. He also came out with some conclusion that it is around 2000 BC, something of that nature. Maybe that is must have happened in 5132 BC. That is what I believe, madam.
Not I told 5150 BC, 5150 years ago. That means 3000.
Yes. Maybe, madam, that must have happened, because the evidences are not there, no. That is the problem. Evidences means each person, some persons will be interpreting Mahabharata from Jyotisha perspective. They go to the planet, they analyze the planets, and at that time what is there, what is mentioned in Mahabharata in some areas, they try to analyze it, they come to some conclusion. There are some other persons who will be going according to the inscriptions and all this is. There are some persons will be trying to understanding our earlier history from some other literary sources. Sources of our history is many, no. Whichever sources they try to emphasize, that aspect they will be highlighting. So that is why anyway it is a much older text. To that extent it is true. It is a very old text, much earlier than Greek literature, much earlier than any other civilization people. Even they don't know how to actually hunt. At the time we were having a lot of civilization. That aspect we can tell. That is it.
Finally, what I read in Samskrita Bharati books is 700 BC.
700 BC.
Yeah.
Maybe 7000 BC, madam.
No.
700 BC, maybe that may be there. 900 BC or 700 BC, like that.
And
And somebody is writing here, Nilesh work, astronomical evidences and all these things. Like that it is there, madam, because different persons try to interpret Mahabharata in that fashion.
And how can Christians say that there was no civilization before that? Because this is the 14th Manvantara, isn't it?
Maybe one thing I can tell you, madam, because before discussing these issues, thing is that what is the purpose or objective of this webinar is that understanding the nuances of dharma, artha, kama, moksha, that is more important from Mahabharata. When it was written down, when it is not written down, is actually one thing is that is only the aspect that is to be discussed by historians, no. Normally, what I understand is that what we have to understand is that what is the content of Mahabharata and how it is helpful for us. That is more important than when it was written down, and whether what is the evidence for it, what is the charitrika evidences are there. That is actually that is there. That is a subject matter for discussion for people who are having knowledge of that aspect. And here, when it is written down, difficult to tell. That is there, na. Purpose is we have to see the purpose also. No? Purpose of the webinar we have to see. The Sanatana Dharma we have to understand. So that is why, okay, maybe according to traditional scholars, because we are also following the tradition, go back and okay, let us agree that it is 5132 BC. Or if you are reading in Samskrita Bharati test, it is 700 BC, fine. That is also okay. 700 BC also you take it. Nothing wrong in it. That is the only advice which I can give, madam.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Actually, this dating is a very controversial and
Controversial subject, no? It is a controversial subject. One more thing is that each person here, maybe some 30-35% are there. Each person will be having some sort of indication, some place, somebody must have written like that. Nobody knows.
let us not dwell more on that.
Yes.
Now, next, any questions in the chat box?
There are questions, but then it is already clarified. It's
Okay.
all regarding the age or timing, which is at this moment not relevant. More relevance is on the subject matter.
Yes.
Right.
Anybody wants to ask any other question? Yeah, Sabita Garu.
Namaste, Mahodaya. First of all, thank you so much for showing us a different perspective, how we look at Mahabharata. I just have one question. Is there any Gudardham why Ganapati has told he will not, he will write without lifting his hand?
Yeah, that 8,800 shlokas are actually they are called Gudhartha, Grandha Grandhis. And the very
Okay.
purpose of putting that Grandha Grandhi, people say, is that it is only to gain some time by Vedavyasa. He has to gain some time, he has to think over some difficult aspects. That is why he used to put one Grandha Grandhi. Here, one example I can tell you. One example is that this Vidura, the Pandavas were asked to go to Lakshagruha. When they were asked to go to Lakshagruha means there Duryodhana has plotted that he wanted to kill all those persons by igniting fire to that particular Lakshagruha. So at that time, Vidura also accompanies Dharmaraja, and all Pandavas were going like that. Vidura accompanies up to certain point. There, Vidura
Okay.
tells one shloka he will tell. That shloka I cannot recollect, but there, that particular spot it is there. That shloka he will be telling that shloka, and Dharmaraja tells, I understood it.
Okay.
This is actually it is the Koya Bhasha, what we can call that is tribal language he speaks at that time. Tribal language mixed with Sanskrit language. Tribal
Okay.
language mixed with the Sanskrit language. What happens is that whether it is a tribal language, nobody knows. It is a Sanskrit language, also we don't know. But the words are looking like Sanskrit, and but also it is a tribal language. He
Okay.
talks a language, and then Dharmaraja tells that I understood it. Then Vidura leaves that particular spot, and these people will move on. When they move on, after going to some place, that Kunti will be asking Dharmaraja, Vidura was telling you something in the presence of so many persons. All persons were there. Even people were also there. The Brahmins were there, and we were there, and all other persons were there. He told something which I could not understand. And then what
Okay.
he told, did you understand? If it is relevant, you tell me. Otherwise, if it is not relevant for me, if I need not understand it, you need not tell like that. Then the Amara tells, no, Vidura was telling that Duryodhana has already plotted that he wants to kill us in Lakshagruha, and we are one house is waiting for us, which is going to be destroyed. That is the
Okay.
component which Vidura told. That
Okay.
shloka, if you begin to read, like earlier I told madam like that, Prataha Juta Prasangena, like that, it will be like that.
Yes. Yes.
Initially, if you
Yes.
tell like that, what will happen? It is difficult to understand immediately. Even Ganapati also has
Okay.
to think over for some time, and then he has to deliberate over the issue, and then only he will be understanding which language it is written down, what is like that. Similarly, there is one more example I can give you. All Pandavas, when they went to Virata Asthana, they go to the court of Virata. When they go to the court of Virata, Dharmaraja is supposed to, he should not tell untruth. He wanted to be adhere to the truth only. Now, who are you? He will be asking. Virata will be asking, who are you, like that. Then he says that I am Kankubhatta. Kankubhatta, I am a
Yes.
Brahmin, like that he will be telling. Then
Yes.
he cannot tell untruth. Then how can he
Yes.
tell untruth? Thing is that the Sanskrit shloka is molded in such a fashion that each and every word, if you bifurcate, he has not told untruth. It is truth
Okay.
only. In some other fashion, it is truth only. Then now
Okay.
he can't tell untruth. So then truth
Okay.
will be coming like this. In this way, the Grantha Grandhis are molded, madam. Difficult
Okay.
shlokas.
Okay.
That is the
No,
thing,
but
madam.
is there any reason why Ganapati told he will write only if without lifting continuously?
One thing, madam, say Ganapati, madam. Now, Ganapati is a busy person, now,
And
madam.
that is the only reason, but there is no other inner
No other
meaning or
reason.
inner
Suppose
reason. Dharma.
if we want to do small vratam also, we invoke Ganapati and start doing.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe in that way. And same question was put to sometime on Ashtavadhanam is there by Garikapati Narasimha Rao, madam. Then he was
Okay,
telling
sir.
he was a busy person and everybody will be invoking him only. Then where he should
Okay.
go? He doesn't have time, like that he was telling. Jocularly he was telling.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
Sir, and one more. Sir, what we are telling that the lipi and all this lipi, whatever we are using, we have only from Grantha and Ashokan time inscriptions. So, is there any evidence what Lipi they used during that time? Because Lipi was not
no,
there
madam,
at all.
because that the original test we don't know. I don't think it is there, madam. Original test it is
Nowhere it is mentioned.
nowhere it is Devanagari script only, madam. Script is Devanagari, people tell. But thing is that that the script which Ganapati has written and while Vedavyasa was dictating, that I think it is not there. Maybe some pratis are available in Kumbakonam press. It is there, madam. Kumbakonam press what is called one great library is there in Tamil Nadu. What is it? Some name is there, madam. That there only our Kautilya Sarthashastra was also taken out. Sham Shastri has taken out while he was. Even now also people tell that what is that Grandhalaya, sir? Some Grandhalaya is there in Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
In that Grandhalaya, madam, even tomorrow I can tell
So
you.
someone has written Tanjavur Saraswati.
Tanjavur, madam. Tanjavur library is there now. Tanjavur library, it is mentioned that maybe some 3 lakh uncovered the books are still there in that Talapatra Granthas are there. And out of that, only 10% so far they have been decoded and they have been written down. Similarly, in 1919, 1920, something like that, Sham Shastri was the librarian at that time in that particular spot. He was searching for the old books at the time. He found Arthashastra, Kautilya Arthashastra. He brought Arthashastra to the entire world only in 20th century. Only he brought it to light. Similarly, maybe sometime somewhere in down the line, somebody must have somebody can find the Prati of Mahabharata. We don't know. But right now, as of now, the original Prati is not there. But that which has been came down from generations, those pratis actually taken out by Bhandarkar Institute and they compiled it.
Right. Correct, sir. So just one more thing. Sir, Ramayana we are telling in every 23rd, every time the Yuga and all like that. Even Mahabharata also occurs every...
It is there, madam. Mahabharata, it is there, madam. It is there in Mahabharata also, madam. It is there. All these Srushti Rahasya, the Yugas and all these things are mentioned in Mahabharata again. It is there, madam.
No. Does it also occur every time, every Manvantara, every Manvantara it occurs? Like we say Ramayana occurs in every Manvantara.
All these things will be occurring, madam. All these people believe that each Manvantara, same story will be repeated like that. Now Vaivashvata Manvantara, no? Maybe earlier Manvantara also it must be there. And there are some stories people tell that, some people even now also people tell that this Ramayana, what we are now telling, no, that is not belonging to this Manvantara, maybe some other Manvantara people will be telling. That also they will be telling. But people tell that this popular stories are there. Now, Hanumanta going to the down the place and there he was finding so many anguli. He will be finding the rings of Sita. He will be finding. Then his ego has come down. Something of that nature. So these stories actually they wanted to relate the same issue. Thing is that same thing will be getting repeated in different other periods of time also. That also only literary evidence only. We don't have any evidence with regard to what is called charitrika evidence, something of that nature. It is not there. All is literally evidences only. Literally, people will be telling that it is there. It will be happening again. Maybe now we are discussing in this seminar. Maybe after one more Manvantara again we may be discussing like this. We don't know.
Yes, Mahodaya. Dhanyavada.
Definitely in the next batch, 7th batch, we will be discussing.
Yes. Mahodaya.
Okay. Now time is up. So thank you so much, sir, for today's lecture. Again, we'll meet tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
With your permission, we'll go for Prarthana and Janaganamana.
Yes.
Venkat Narayan garu, please.
स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्य परिपालयन्तान् न्यायेन मार्गेण महीमहीषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितो ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः अपुत्राः पुत्रिणः सन्तु पौत्रिणः अधनाः सधनाः सन्तु जीवन्तु शरदां शतम् सत्यं वद धर्मं चर स्वाध्यायान्मा प्रमदः सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सर्वे जना सुखिनो भवन्तु स्वस्ति
ధన్యవాదములండి వెంకటనారాయణ గారు. థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్. నౌ లెట్ us go for నేషనల్ యాంథమ్. చల్లా చిట్టిబాబు గారు ప్లీజ్.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे जय जय
ధన్యవాదములండి చల్లా చిట్టిబాబు గారు. థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్. నౌ